finally, I'm back. And I'm over here because I didn't feel like sitting on my tripod or, you know, cleaning my background. And this is just a blank wall. Also, I have a hat on because I'm getting this cut tomorrow, so we won't have to worry about it. But it is February, and February is Black History Month, also Valentine's Day. So I thought I would combine the two things, my love for women and Black History Month, and end my New Year's resolution of reading more books and give you a list of books written by women of color. So here is a list of books written by women of color. Some of these I have read and some of these I have not. I will be adding them to my to-read list, but I will not guarantee that I'm going to read them this year. But they've been on my to-read list. They've come highly recommended. I keep looking at myself and I'm gonna try to stop doing that. Different, because it's just different. I'd like to point out, I don't think I have to, I'm very white, so I'm gonna mispronounce all of these names. Also, a lot of these struggles I can relate to in being in a minority as gender or a sexual identity. However, I cannot relate to all of the problems that are posed in the books because I am white and therefore I have that privilege. I'm also passing, like I can pass as being female and that doesn't bother me, so I don't have that issue either. I'm not androgynous enough to create problems there, so I do have those privileges. And so some of the things I can relate to and some of the things I can't, but that does not negate my experiences nor the experiences of the authors. Just a little disclaimer before we get into this. Okay, number one, I'm currently reading this for my LGBTQ class, but it is Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. It is amazing. I'm glad I started reading it before it got assigned, and I'm glad that I'm now reading all of because it's a collection of essays essentially. No, not essentially, it is. It's a collection of essays. So I'm glad I read it before the pressure was put on me to read it because, I don't know, as soon as someone assigns me to read something, I don't want to read it anymore. So I read all of it. Well, I'm halfway through of it. I read all of the bits that I needed to read for class, and now I'm going back and reading all of the other bits, and it's really good. It's really good. I'm really bad at this. Number two is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Mary Angelou. It's based off of Caged Bird. I'm pretty sure it's her autobiography. I read it in high school. I don't remember much of it. I want to read it again, but I do remember being very moved by it. Number three is Everyday Use by Alice Walker. Read something else by Alice Walker. Have it written down. Oh, The Color Purple. Duh. Which is number 4. So Everyday Use I haven't read yet, but The Color Purple I have. Very good play as well. Is it? No, I'm thinking of something else. Either way, I really want to read Everyday Use and I want to read again The Color Purple. That's it. Number 5, Silver Sparrow by Tayari Jones. Again, I don't know how to pronounce any of these, but I'll put it up for you so you can see it. I heard about this in high school sophomore year. There was a feature on this author on NPR and I decided to check her out, and so I read Silver Sparrow and An American Dream, which is also on my list. So those two, really good. I want to read them again. Again, most of these I haven't read since high school. I haven't read a lot at all since high school, so I want to read them again. Number 6 is The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. I read this. I had to read it for my English class at Sierra. I think it must have been one of the first English classes I had. I read a few bits and pieces about a year ago, and then I was hooked, and so I read more of it. It's about the mass incarceration of African Americans in the US jail system, essentially, and how we have made it so that people who have been to jail with felonies and what felonies are essentially treated the same as the African Americans who were oppressed by the Jim Crow laws. And because of the mass incarceration of African American, it's essentially the same laws being applied to the same people, but with a different pretense. It's really good reading. Number 7 is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, I think is how you pronounce it. Not sure. Again, absolutely no idea. I saw this on a list of books that I should read. You know, when you create a list of books and then you let the world know and people are like, oh, you should read this one. This was one of those books. So it's on my to-read list and I will be reading it when I get a chance. Number 8 is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. I haven't read this one. Again, it was suggested to me. Just if you want to read it, it's also by a woman of color. Number 9 is An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. Once again, I heard about this on NPR. I had forgotten about it. This was one of the books that I rented from the library as opposed to buying, because I have bought Silver Sparrow on Kindle, but both of them were just really good and I really want to read them again. And number 10 is So You Want to Talk About Race by this author. I'm not going to try to pronounce that at all. I haven't read this one, but I have heard about it and I would like to read it in the future. So those are 10 books by women of color that you could read this month. I will be reading some of them this month and I'll let you know what I think. I'll know when I do a book review, and let me know if you've read any of these books or if you have any other books by women or people of color. Leave that list down below and I will add those to my list as well. Maybe we can bond over books. This is turning into a book channel of books that I haven't read yet, but I want to read more books. I'm doing so well so far. I've got a few read. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!